How envy quietly shapes your life. You probably don't think you're envious. Most people don't. But envy isn't loud. It doesn't slam the door or announce itself. It hides. In admiration, in competition, in quiet moments of self-doubt when someone else wins and you wonder why it wasn't you. It doesn't shout, envy whispers. In Amadeus, Antonio Salieri is the respected court composer, talented, acclaimed. Then Mozart walks in, young, brilliant, chaotic. And suddenly, Salieri feels it. Not hate, not jealousy, but envy. He realizes he'll never have what Mozart has. Not because he lacks effort, but because genius isn't earned, it's given. And that realization breaks him. Envy, for Salieri, becomes the slow poison that eats away at talent, ambition, and faith. Social psychologist Leon Festinger said, "We evaluate ourselves not by who we are, but by comparing ourselves to others." Welcome to social comparison theory. We don't envy the billionaire in Dubai, we envy our neighbor who just got a promotion. That's why envy hurts. It's close, personal, and eerily silent. It makes you scroll longer, try harder, spend more, not because you want to, but because you're afraid of falling behind. In Mean Girls, Regina George isn't just popular, she's strategic. But beneath her flawless surface is envy. She masks it as power, gossip, control. When someone threatens her shine even slightly, envy takes over. What's fascinating is that Regina doesn't recognize it as envy. She calls it keeping the balance. But psychology calls it status anxiety. A 2015 University of Michigan study found that people who spend more time on social media report higher levels of envy, depression, and dissatisfaction. We don't just see others, we compare our backstage to their highlight reel. We feel behind, not enough. And instead of exploring our own path, we start chasing theirs. In The Social Network, Mark Zuckerberg builds Facebook, but what really drives him? Yes, intelligence. Yes, ambition. But there's another emotion humming underneath. Envy is excluded, overlooked, undervalued. So he builds something bigger than the clubs that rejected him. Envy here becomes a builder, not a destroyer. It pushes, fuels, provokes, but it also isolates. Because the people who inspire you most can quickly become the ones you resent in silence. Here's the paradox. Envy shows you what you want, but it rarely leads you to who you are. It makes you copy, chase, outperform, but never connect. And the problem isn't envy itself. The problem is pretending it isn't there. According to psychologist Richard Smith, envy has two faces. Malicious envy, where you want to pull someone down. Benign envy, where you feel inspired to rise up. The key isn't to suppress envy, it's to listen to it. Envy isn't your enemy. It's your mirror. It reveals where you feel small, unseen, or forgotten. And instead of fighting it, maybe it's time to follow the signal. Not to become someone else, but to become someone who no longer needs to compare. Because in a world full of curated lives, likes, and little green monsters, the most rebellious thing you can do is be at peace with your own path.